Hello and welcome back to another episode of Respawn Radio with your host Paul.
And myself. Keeping it. Carry on.
Okay. Right. I like your remixing it these days. It's good.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy II from 1988.
This is the second of the Final Fantasies.
It would be. Came out. Only ever came out in Japan, you know. The original one anyway on the Famicom.
Oh, it got remade for UK and everywhere else in the world.
It got remade on PS1, Game Boy, fucking PSP.
Yeah, all of them.
On Steam, you can get the entire back catalogue of the main Final Fantasy string of games, except from 1 and 2 for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, let's be honest. 1 wasn't particularly good, and 2 is universally hated for being shit.
Is it?
I don't think many people like the leveling system in it.
Oh, Christ. It's fucking awful. We'll get to that, but... I mean, the first Final Fantasy game didn't come out in the US until 1990, and that was when Final Fantasy III came out on the Famicom in Japan. So America took ages to actually catch up on it.
And it was, I don't say they caught up, it's more the fact that...
But the translation team just obviously was sitting there with their thumb up their asses for 3 years. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Was it just no demand for it?
Everything got 6 onwards was a massive hit.
Well, yeah.
So Final Fantasy II, the second game to be the most unfinalized game that ever finalized.
Mm-hmm.
It's also known as Final Fantasy II The Star Wars.
It does have a lot.
It literally, the plot follows A New Hope
the Rebels,
down to a T.
The Empire, the Emperor.
So the plot is that there's the Empire and they are called the Empire.
The Palametian Empire. Yep. I mean, they expand upon... What's weird is that they expand upon the names of it in the remakes. So in the original, it's, as far as, fan translations go, it's just known as the Empire and the Emperor is just known as the Emperor. Whereas in, the remakes, the Emperor is called, Emperor Matthias Palametia.
Well, it's probably because they didn't want to get sued by George Lucas.
It reminded me of the prequels where they called it Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah,
they actually gave him a name rather
instead of just the Emperor.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So what I like about this one
is the characters are not just random 4 blokes that turn up with 4 stones that they found out in the field, and the king was just like, well, you've got 4 stones, you should be able to do this. They're actually
characters with names and faces, and they talk.
Yeah, there's Luke, there's Han, there's Leia.
You stop. All right, so the characters, you've got Firion, you've got Maria, and you've got Guy. And then you've got Leon, who is Maria's brother. Now, they start off, they're fleeing from their hometown of Finn. As I mentioned, there was never an American release, right? So what I was looking at was a fan translation. Now this, you can tell me if you think I'm doing it wrong.
Okay.
In how Final Fantasy 1, the town that they were in was called Corneria.
Yeah.
And then in the remakes they called it Cornelia because they realised they changed it. Well, in a fan translation that I found, the empire is called Paramecia rather than Palamecia. So I think that if Final Fantasy 2 ever did have an original release in America, they probably would have spelt it that way.
Paramecia or Paramecia?
Paramecia, because that's how it directly translates. But Palamecia just rolls off the tongue better, I guess. So
I think that's an American thing.
The town that they go in was called Altea in the translated version, and in the actual game, in the remake, it's called Altair. And then there's Minwoo, who's a character in the remake, and it's originally called Minji or something. I can't remember what it was. It's stupid. There's so many different things, and it's just... Well, so but I'm going to go off of the one that Square officially made, the remake. Paramecia just sounds ridiculous anyway. So, what are the personalities of our characters?
So you've got Guy, who can speak Beaver.
Yeah, he's the brawn of the brains.
Yeah.
And what's the Beavers about? You really wanted to talk about them, I know you did.
I didn't want to talk about them, I just wanted to mention that you can talk Beaver. It's for a quest that they have to do.
It's like Narnia or something stupid.
Anyway, so the thing is, the characters they don't have personalities.
They don't, do they?
They are
they're blank slates.
They're meant to be you. They do the Zelda thing where your character does. I mean, the characters talk.
Even though they have dialogue, they don't have much personality.
It's kind of hard to get personality from that, apart from Sid, who's just awesome in this.
I love the fact that the game starts off and they get their asses kicked. Your characters start off, and I remember playing it and thinking, am I doing something wrong? Because I keep dying.
Yeah, so your characters escape from the village
because it's been overthrown by Imperial soldiers.
by the Empire, yeah, and the stormtroopers are chasing you.
They're called Dark Knights.
And you get into a fight with the stormtroopers and they start blasting you.
Just call them, I don't know, shadow troopers or something.
So the SS are attacking you. No, I'm not going there. The Black Knights are attacking you and you're actually fighting. It's not like a cutscene.
No, yeah, it jumped. Literally,
Yeah.
The game starts off with a battle.
You can't win. Like, they are...
It's impossible.
Like they're one hit and you're shit, essentially.
But you don't die. You wake up and you've been rescued by Princess Hilda.
Whose dad is the king.
Yeah, she's like the leader of the rebellion.
Yep, they're called the Rebellion. She is Leia, through and through.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, so you find Leia.
And she has C-3PO.
Yep.
Sorry, Minwoo. And he's like a white mage. Now, what I really like about this game is you have 4 characters, okay? Now, right after you're rescued, one of you goes missing, Leon. And one of the very first missions is to attempt to go back to the town you just ran away from. You know, the one where you got your ass kicked in. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we know you've just died doing this bit.
So let's just go back there. So you do try to go back there to find Leon, but you don't find him. Now, throughout the game, there's actually really quite creative mechanic where you have like additional characters that will dip in and out of your adventure and sort of help you out.
So people would stay behind, other people would come in.
Yeah, so you technically have 3 characters and a space for a 4th character that they jump in and
it's a revolving door, basically.
Yeah, and they have like some of them leave, some of them come back, and some of them die. Actually, a lot of them actually die.
But a lot of the thing is you're trying to recruit for this
for the army. Yeah. So it's a lot more darker in tone than the first one.
I'd say it actually has a tone.
Yeah,
has a plot.
It's like it's based around war and like the horrificness of war
instead of stones,
rather than like magic and time travel and all that wank.
I mean, it still has magic. I mean, a lot of it is the whole plot of it is you need to try and find this like ultimate magic.
Do you know what the actual Emperor's plan was? So in the opening crawl. God, it is an opening crawl, isn't it? Yeah, the first one had an opening crawl, but this one, it says...
I really like the bit where, like, after the opening crawl, the camera kind of pans down to a ship. And then you see Darth Vader.
Yeah, oh, God. So it starts off and it says, like, the Palamutian Empire summoned Hellspawn in the hopes to rule the world.
Yeah.
Oh, please. I hope you can help me rule the world.
I know.
Hellspawn. What a weird way to approach it. What do? You just summon a demon and go... Please.
Oh, Lucifer, please just kind of help me take over the world. I'll be your friend.
They want to join the rebels, but the princess is like, no, you've got no experience, you know.
Legitimate thing to say, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they are...
You've just got your arse handed to you. Why do we need you?
They are basically kids, though, aren't they? They're maybe teenagers or something.
Something like that. The Japanese, probably 12-year-olds.
Oh, Christ.
What, they actually probably are. You never watched anime
No,
before.
I think they are.
It's like 14-year-olds fighting like 30-year-olds.
I think, actually, that's Final Fantasy 3, where they're literally like 10-year-olds. But
anyway.
In this one, they create this really cool mechanic where when you're speaking to NPCs, you can sort of like stockpile keywords.
It's like a dialogue tree, but not.
Yeah, like you just sort of... the first one you pick up is like Wild Rose or something. And you can use that... Like, you go up to certain people... who like blocking your pathway or to initiate certain conversations, and you would say, you know, you'd select from your list and you'd see like how they will react to it, and they're like passwords really. It is pretty cool because in the first game you're just wandering around like a brainless idiot talking to everyone trying to figure out what you need to do. In this one they sort of give you a reason to talk to people. You know, obviously aside from progressing the game.
Yeah, but I mean they actually go about it in it's like an early days Mass Effect like character wheel.
Very early.
Yeah, very, because instead of like...
I think you can like use random, like completely nonsensical, non sequitur words to say to people and they react to it in funny ways. It depends who you speak to.
The first thing you may notice when playing the game is how you level up.
Yeah, so...
It's not good.
The first Final Fantasy game, pretty typical RPG. You beat enemies, you level up.
You gain levels.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for every Final Fantasy game. Maybe apart from 10.
This was the only one where, sort of they sort of expound upon it from 3 with like the job roles and whatnot. But with this one...
I get what they're trying to do.
It's like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
So you would level up individual weapons, individual like skill sets,
your health, your mana.
So like you have to deliberately let yourself get beat up in fights to raise your HP.
Yeah.
You have to use magic more to increase your intelligence. Again, like I say, with the weapons, you know, if you want to be good at using swords, use swords, spears, axes, daggers.
I get what they're doing, but it doesn't work.
Do you know why it doesn't work?
Because it's shit.
They make it so that depending on what kind of skill you want to increase, it actively decreases some other ones that you've worked towards. So, like, let's say you got a character who's like, you training to be a black mage.
Yeah.
You're concentrating on magic, you're increasing your intelligence. But then you think, you know what? All right, I'm going to work on some sword stuff. You look back at your intelligence later on and it's fucking gone down. And you're like, where's the incentive?
Well, everyone knows when you do sword training, you go stupid. Like, it is a...
We're stupid.
The military, they're really good at using guns. But they can't write their own names at this point.
No guns in this one. It's strictly medieval. It is interesting because they base it a lot of like they've clearly, undoubtedly stole from Star Wars, like plot wise. But it's set medieval. It's magic. It's within the Final Fantasy sort of genre, which is fine. But there's no incentive to experiment because your characters are basically set with a like skill set. So Maria starts off with high intelligence, so you expect to sort of want to teach her in magic anyway. But the whole idea is that any of them can do anything. When I say that they're blank slates, not just for their personalities, they could learn. You could teach them anything. You could completely like flip the board and make it so that
it's very customizable, but it's a ball ache to.
It's not. I don't want to say customer friendly, but it's not player like
friendly. It's not. It's counterintuitive.
That's the word.
That's the word you're looking for. But that's it. So if you then think, well, actually, maybe it'd be better as a sword player, you can't. You have to you choose one particular style. You have to stick with it.
Well, they do with this one. They do introduce dual wielding, so you can hold like a spear and a sword, or a sword and a shield, or an axe and a dagger. Like you can mix it up, which is cool. I believe they have that for the next one, and at some point they stopped doing it. But that's pretty cool, like the dual wielding aspects. If you play Final Fantasy, you ever played Dissidia Final Fantasy? It came out on the PSP.
No, I never had a PSP.
Well, they did a remake of it on the PS4, and it's shit. Anyway, Firion's in it. And he's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh yeah.
But his whole thing in the game, because like you have like special moves with like Cloud, he does his limit break, with Tidus, he does his overdrive.
It's a fighting game, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like one of those Dragon Ball Z fighting games, but Final Fantasy games. Now Firion in it has like a finishing move called like Weapons Master.
Yeah.
And he like throws all his different weapons. But I'm thinking, but if you're actually playing Final Fantasy 2, you can't do that. Because like you can't balance you can't max out everything essentially. Well, I mean maybe the weapons you can. I can't remember, or whether it's just the skills. But either way, game fucks you over for putting in effort.
Yeah, essentially, it's for lazy people.
Look how much time we spent talking about the mechanics of the game. We barely scratched on mechanics in the first game because it was so simple, so straightforward.
You attack, you gain a level.
Yeah. This one.
And you just do that endlessly.
This one.
It's fucking like, oh my God, you need like...
The people do hate it. It is infamously hated for its leveling system and fighting system.
And they never go back to it.
They do a pretty interesting thing where you have like, there's 2 item slots per character. And you can put in like a third weapon. So that if you're in battle and you've got a sword and an axe and you realise, they're weak against daggers and you've got a dagger in your inventory, you can swap them over, which is pretty cool. But that's also the slot that you put your items in.
Yep.
So each character can only have 2 items per battle, including boss battles, and they also have to be pre-equipped, like before you go into the fight.
Yep. So
what the fuck?
Good luck trying to heal.
What the fuck? Like Final Fantasy 1 had like item and drink. Like I mean, drink, became they sort of merged the two in future games. Drink was like where you would have potions and shit, items, everything else. With this one, it's like they do away with it, and they fuck you over so much with this game. It's like they went, you know what? Let's just put it on hard mode.
Essentially, yeah. So they go back to the village and they don't find Leon.
You don't find Leon, but like in the basement of this building, you find a guy who like knows the princess. He gives you some information that the reason they were able to overtake the town is because there was a traitor amongst them who's become like the general of their army.
Yeah. So
you go back to the princess and she's pretty happy with that. She's gained confidence in your character's sort of
ability,
initiative, like to just go and foolishly walk into enemy territory.
You look more competent. Like she sent you on a suicide mission and you didn't die.
She doesn't send your characters on that mission. You just go do it Because like you ask to join a rebel.
Oh yeah, she says no. You're too inexperienced and young.
Yeah, so they're just like, all right, we're going to go find Leon. And then she comes back and just like, oh, well done for nearly fucking idiots. What I love about it is that you go into that town and like no one even does anything. It's like when you walk into the Team Rocket hideout and like they just stand there.
Oh yeah, you can avoid every fight by not engaging with people.
Yeah, you just walk past them. It's like you've got an invisibility cloak on or something.
You're a Harry Potter.
So Minwoo joins you, Minwoo the white mage, and he's like fucking hard as nails. Like all your characters are shit.
Yeah.
And it's like you're glad you got him because he's got all the white magic spells ever. He's fucking cool. And I love his character design as well with a turban and whatnot. He kind of reminds me. Did you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories?
No.
Oh, there's a character in it right at the beginning who's got like a turban. He's got like this veil that covers his nose and mouth. It just reminds me of him. The first mission after that is to go get Mithril.
So they can build...
Yeah. You meet Sid, and Sid is like the first reoccurring character of the series.
He's the only...
Every time Sid is in Final Fantasy, he's always got something to do with airships.
Or
airships.
Vehicles. Or 915.
Yeah, he does. He transforms your car into a flying car, doesn't he?
That's Cindy.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's Cindy.
But okay, but yeah, so... Which is the one where he's actually a player character?
That's 7.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're sent on a journey to the north to find a mithril. Well, you know what it's like a metal.
It's a better metal than what they've got, right? You meet a guy called Joseph. He's like already he's basically doing your mission, but he's got there first.
Yeah.
He's like hand-to-hand combat. Anyway, he helps you out. He takes your place as the fourth party member. Now, plot hole already. You get through it. You get the mithril. You beat the enemies and the mini-boss.
Yeah.
Now, how the fuck did you do that? Because the whole point of this mission is to get mithril, which makes better armor that they've got. So how did you beat them?
Yeah, how did you
when they're equipped with it?
Surely, like, yeah, that's a good one because
it's stupid.
It's basically saying, okay, they've got the best armor in the world. You are still inexperienced. Good luck. You do it, and you're like, maybe this metal isn't as good as people think it is.
Maybe.
You got beaten up by like 3 of you and 1 competent person.
Oh, fucking hell.
Like, there's got to be some sort of chink in the armor there.
Good pun.
Yeah. So you get the mithril, and you bring it back to Queen Amidala.
Yeah, and she's happy with that, and then she is non-stop bitch quest. She's just like, okay, you've come back. Now take the mithril to the blacksmith. And it's just like, the fuck, you do something.
It's literally like, you've got other people, you can do this. Like,
why have I got to do everything?
Yeah, I've literally just risked my life getting the mithril from an army of, like, utter shit people. Like, I've done my bit, I want to go to bed.
Yeah.
You take the fucking mithril to the blacksmith and get someone else to do that.
You'll notice that when you sort of walk around and interact with people, that like various NPCs talk about a mysterious sort of Dark Knight character.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure that's the name of the generic enemies that killed you at the beginning.
Yeah, but there was like a...
Like he's like a new recruit that's sort of risen through the ranks quite quickly.
Yeah, and he's very strong in the Force. Carries a red lightsaber.
No, he doesn't.
Some say he has a black cape and breathing difficulties.
Anyway, the Dark Knight, Batman, fucking Batman.
Yeah.
He's been like ordered to help construct a warship,
and it's meant to be like
the dreadnought or something.
Yeah, like the ultimate of like death. So you are sent to destroy it.
Yeah, you need to go get this fuel to essentially dump in the engine to overload it.
Yeah, so they said it uses a particular type of fuel.
Like sunfire or something?
Yeah, but there's only one place you can get it. It's like underground, guarded by a monster and all that shit.
I mean, I know that on the way, you have this mission. You run into the traitor, the general traitor, and you kill him. But Joseph dies. This giant Indiana Jones-sized boulder, after you kill him, gets released, and like he holds it off, I don't know, like Superman or something, until you can escape, but then it just crushes him. He dies, and it's pretty sad.
It was the first death in the game that's related.
Like the first actual,
because he was a good character. I liked him.
You meet a guy called Gordon next, who I think through different NPCs you find that he's like the brother. He's one of the princes on like a neighboring allied kingdom, but he's like a coward and he's on like a path of redemption. So he joins you to help out. Anyway, the princess gets kidnapped.
How did she get kidnapped?
She's on Sid's airship
because I know,
and, like the dreadnought comes and the big warship just like swallows the other airship. Like,
how many times does this bitch get kidnapped?
Twice.
Fucking hell, she's worth a piece.
So You have to go find where it's landed. You sneak aboard. You save her and Sid, and then you fuck up the engine. Then Dark Knight comes along.
Batman, yeah.
Yeah, and then Maria hears him speak, and she's like,
I recognise that voice. And then she's like, ooh. Yeah, I've not felt this presence. She full on goes Star Wars again.
I love it. It's so blatant now that you think about it. Like
it's like, that's not true. That's impossible. I bet they say that. Bet any money at the end, they'll go, that's not true.
That's impossible.
That's impossible. And she will search her feelings.
So, after all that fuckery, they get back to Altair, and the king
is literally going to die.
He just dies in front of you. But what he does is he's got like this big plan that he wants to put in place. First of all, he gets Minwoo to go find the Ultima spell. It's like with Final Fantasy VII with the holy spells, except it's like the Ultima spell.
Yeah, it's like the big daddy of all spells.
And then meanwhile, he's like asking you to go seek out the Dragoons, right? So they're like this old like warrior race, because he's like, they're the only people that can help. I'm thinking, fuck you, man. Like, I've been doing all this shit so far.
I walked back into a place that nearly killed me. I fought off like mithril armoured interns and couldn't do shit. It's like, oh, the Dragoons.
Oh, the Dragoons. They're so great. They're all dead.
And while he's saying on his deathbed, he's like rubbing his nipple, saying the Dragoons. It's like,
yeah. So you're on the way there.
Anyway, so you kill the king for that.
What is this, gladiator now? Yeah. So you kill, fucking hell, you kill him. No, you don't kill him. I got carried away.
The king dies via pillow.
I didn't think that this Final Fantasy was going to be this funny.
No, it is square.
So, you're on the way to the dragon place, the dragoon place, and you get mugged by pirates, right? So it's like Final Fantasy 1 again, except there's actually a leader of this pirate. She's called Layla, and she like, it's which
is it Layla or Leah?
Oh god, it's almost spelt the same way, isn't it? So you beat them, and she's like impressed by you and wants to join you, and I don't understand why they agreed to it.
I don't know, the pirates, but you get access to pirates.
Now they get to the place, and all the dragoons are dead.
Apart from
the family of a guy called...
it's just mother and a son they find.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the family of a guy called Richard. Or is it Rickard? I mean, on the wiki, it's written Rickard without a H.
Without the H, but in the game...
But in the game, it's Richard. Anyway,
so we'll just call him Richie.
They meet Dick's family. Mm-hmm. And dragoons being like dragon tamers, essentially. It's all dead. I assume they died in some big war. They mentioned it. I've forgotten. They meet this creature called a Hiryu. It's Hiryu. I tried putting it into like Google text to speech, and it was like Hiryu, and it's like it couldn't do it. So in the remakes, they renamed it to a wyvern.
Okay,
just to make it
a wyvern's a dragon.
I understand what I mean. If they called it dragoon, it's a bit. So fair enough. They called it a wyvern. It's kind of like a small dragon. It's dying, and you've got to help hatch the egg of it.
Yeah, you need to go and take it to the last, like in a cabin or somewhere, and you hatch like an egg. For some reason, you have an omelette. You go back to the base, to the command base, and Leia's there, and you're Han Solo, and she's like, Luke, just fuck off for a sec. So it's literally just Leia and Han in the bedroom. She's acting strange. She's like, legs wide open.
But it's implied that she's like gonna fuck Furion.
Yeah, there's like, but he's fully down to it.
You ever notice did you ever see that film called Black Swan?
Yeah.
You know the music that they dance to constantly, like the Black Swan theme tune?
Yeah, where she turns into a swan. Where she literally turns into her legs go inwards because she's like schizophrenic.
I can't remember. Anyway, in the film Black Swan, there's a theme tune for it, and that's based off of like this really old song from like, I don't know, like 100 years ago or something. Anyway, this song here that's playing on the song in the game on the soundtrack is called The Princess Temptation or something.
Yeah.
It's fucking plagiarized. Like, it straight is the same tune. Listening to the song on Black Swan and then listen to that soundtrack track, it's identical.
All right, I will.
So Nobu Uematsu, the lawyers have been called. Actually, no, I don't think once something's over 100 years old or there's no copyright,
it loses copyright. So maybe they're fine.
Maybe that's what it is. But he still, like, as far as I'm concerned, inspired it, very, very least plagiarized it. I still love you, Nobu.
Calling you out, though.
You're a good lad.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this whole film is Star Wars, so, you know.
Good point. They were in it together. Hironobu and Nobu, they just did not give a fuck.
All the Nobus, basically, it's just... Anyway.
No, the Nobus had no clues or ideas, clearly.
Even the name sounds like Naboo. Anyway, they're gonna fuck, and then it turns out it's not.
It's like a Lamia.
Yeah.
It's a body double. She's been kidnapped for a second time.
Yeah. When did she get kidnapped again?
That's my thing.
I thought she only got kidnapped once.
No, she gets kidnapped twice. The first time on the airship and this time. Now, it happens off camera, off screen, so to speak.
Right
under the noses of the entire rebel fucking army.
Well, you know what's good? So we've established that the Imperial Army is useless because we are able to gain the upper hand.
How did they get in?
But I like the fact that the rebel army is also useless.
They're equally shit.
Yes.
Well, that's why we're doing all the work.
We are winning this war ourselves because our allies and our enemy are incompetent.
It's funny you mention that because there is something that comes in later on, and there's essentially what's our equivalent leading the Imperials, and without him, they probably couldn't have got anything done either.
Yeah, so it's fucking ridiculous. I love it.
So she's been kidnapped, and she's been taken to the heart of Palamitra, and you got to like go into like an arena. It's like gladiator style, and like she's like the prize.
To skip ahead a little bit, they rescue Hilda.
Yeah, they save her again because she's fucking useless and does nothing. So
is the Empire because you're able to just go in and rescue her quite easily. To be fair, without much trouble, you fight a few bosses, and you also take back Flynn from the Imperial forces all at the same time.
Finn,
is it Flynn? The city.
It's called Finn.
Oh.
It's almost like they anticipated episode 7.
Ah, yeah.
Yep. It's so convenient and inconveniently stolen. Everything about it.
Is that actually...
That is the name of the city. F-Y-N-N.
So did Star Wars copy this one?
Who knows?
I think it's plagiarising each other. Anyway, so you go save Finn from the Imperial forces.
Yeah.
Which is what happens.
There is a point. I think this is the point where you do get back the city, and I think it's this point. With the main actual plan, they're on the way to catch up with Minwoo, who's like at this tower to try and get the ultimate spell. And he's accomplished about as much as Joseph did. So he got to where he needs to be and just waited for you.
Yeah, so he's just sat down and waiting. Like, you could spend the next 20 years trying to get to him. He's just going to wait there. He pulled out a chair out of his arse using white magic and is sat on it like, where the fuck are they? Anyway, so you're going there and you get swallowed up by a Leviathan.
Yeah, it's a giant secret, which is another summon, but it isn't a summon in this game yet either. So you got Bahamut in the first game, and then you got Leviathan in this one. Now, here's the weird thing. On the inside, there's like...
an entire city.
There's like corridors and like bookshelves, and it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's like these people have just made do.
It's like they tried to do the whale from Pinocchio, but made it a lot more cozy on the inside.
Yeah.
So these people, there's like people that survive who've been like swallowed and lost at sea.
For years.
And
they just made do in this belly.
And conveniently you meet...
What's his name?
Richard.
You meet Dick.
You meet Richard.
Nightwing, essentially. Robin. And he's like the last surviving dragoon or dragon or whatever.
Yeah, he's the last surviving one, but also happens to be related to the two people that you met in the city earlier who are also the last surviving ones. But it's all connected, so at least they're still one happy family. Anyway, they get out. Like, you have to fight a boss. And
yeah, there's a boss inside the boss.
Yeah.
The boss has swallowed a boss.
It's like a mini boss. So you get out, and Richard takes place as the fourth.
Who's very competent again.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you're competent. I think you find that one person who can do shit and who pulls you through it.
Yeah, you get to the tower, and Minu's waited for you. And
he had a cigarette break.
Yeah, he uses his magic to break the seal to get the ultimate spell up.
But he uses all of his magic and does a Luke Skywalker.
What do you mean?
You know, in the new Star Wars film, what's it called?
Oh God!
Where Luke uses all of his force powers and dies. He does that.
For fuck's sake!
He's like,
stop! Just leave each other alone. Why can't these two IPs just fucking live separate? This is not fair.
So he's using all of his power to break the door.
Yeah.
And he uses his life energy.
And he just dies. Like the second death. So you've had Joseph, who easily died the worst way. Death by boulder. And now we've got Minwoo who just dies because he got
Death by door.
he got so tired and died. He just
I like to think he waited a very long time for you.
I don't know what he was doing, wanking or charging his magic or something useful, hopefully.
But yeah, so
He dies, you get a magic spell, but by the time you use it, I think it's just useless anyway. So it's kind of like Holy on Final Fantasy VII, where you finally get it and it does
literally
fuck
nothing.
all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after that, when you escape with Richard, you...
Robin.
I don't know why I keep calling him that.
Dick Grayson is Robin.
I forgot to say, that is such a stretch.
Yeah, but it's got the Dark Knight in it.
That's the worst. Good job. So you get out, and the newly hatched Hiryu wyvern, Richard harnesses it and flies on the back of it.
The dragon.
Yeah, the dragoon.
The
rider.
wyvern, yeah.
Now,
so you got a flying dragon. You basically Skyrim this.
Explain this to me. For some reason, do you want to mention the cyclone and what's inside it and the thing?
Oh, yeah. So the Emperor summoned a cyclone, didn't he? To destroy towns.
It was a giant whirlwind, and it's I guess because the dreadnought's gone, and obviously the Dark Knight is useless. Emperor's
Let's not go that far.
Well, the Emperor's fine, I'll fucking start doing it. So he's got this cyclone, and inside it is his castle.
Yeah, the castle's inside the cyclone.
Going around. So it's like a portable... It's like Howl's Moving Castle if it travelled on wind.
Yeah.
And it's going around destroying cities and shit, and you fly... There's this pretty nice cutscene in the PSP, PS1 remake, where, you see the dragon flying up and you actually see it. But in the original one, it's just a little tiny tornado that's going boop, 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 pixelated all over the screen. You fly into it.
And you go and fight.
You go fight the Emperor, straight up.
You kill him.
Yeah. It's you face to it. He's this is the guy who's just caused tons of deaths, and he's the mastermind behind this whole thing. And he's obviously got a covenant with Satan or something.
Yeah, so he dies.
But you kill him, and what would you do at this point? Having just played Final Fantasy 1, what would you do? I tell you what I'd do.
I'd turn it off.
I'd check his fucking pulse and make sure that he's not going to do a garland on us. Make sure he's actually fucking dead.
Yeah, cut off his head.
But I think he is dead. He actually dies.
No, he dies because the Emperor gets replaced by somebody else.
Yeah, so they get back, they have a little jig, they do the end of Star Wars 6, they have a little Ewok party.
All the Ewoks are banging on helmets on the mithril armour, which turns out to be useless. Because what the fuck did you use the mithril armour for? I didn't have any mithril armour in that game. I didn't.
I think you probably do get it, but you have to buy it back from the blacksmith.
Oh, fuck that. I got it. I own it. You should be rich.
At a discount price, but I don't fuck it. I can't, honestly, It's been so long. I played more of the second one than I did the first one. Way more. I played more of the remake. The first time I ever played 2 was on the PSP.
Yeah.
And it just angered me that I spent hours looking for Leon in this city and never found him. And it only dawned on me that you're not supposed to find him. Why doesn't the game make that more clear?
Why do I keep on dying at this first bit? Really, why can't I do it?
Really annoying.
Anyway, so they're having the party, and then a wounded soldier walks in the door.
It comes in, and he's just what a twist.
The wounded soldier comes in during the celebrations, and he's Leon's the Dark Knight. He's Batman.
Did you guess that was going to happen ahead of time?
No.
See, I didn't either. I thought it was pretty cool.
I forgot about Leon. Once you didn't find him in the first mission, I then forgot he existed.
Do you know why I would have never guessed it?
Because you forgot he existed?
Because it's okay, so first of all, they're okay, well, fair enough. Let's just assume that he's under one of the Emperor's spells. But you go back to the castle to meet him there, and he's done this of his own volition. He's chosen to join the Empire.
Yeah, because they all think he's got some sort of spell because his sister's oh, you wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Turns out he just would because he's a dick. There's no Marvel reason for him to do that.
It's he's become cynical after he got his ass kicked. And
I spent the whole game to get my ass kicked.
Yeah, but it's he's personally seen them as a force to be reckoned with and wants to be part of it. He's fucking schizophrenic or something. The game starts off and these bastards kill his family in his hometown, and he's I want to join them.
These guys know exactly what they're doing.
Oh, you've really sold it to me. Up and close personal example of what you know what?
You killed my family and my hometown. You are good. You know what?
It is.
Anyway, so Leon is the Dark Knight and he becomes a new emperor.
Well, for a second.
Literally for a second. And he wants to use the Imperial army to destroy the rebels. So,
Knowing that this is his family, like he's known all
he
along.
wants to kill his own sister.
Which would mean that he would have to have joined them, like very
early.
Very, like, soon after your adventure started.
Yeah.
Which is even more,
But how long has this... Because they're talking about the Dark Knight for quite a while. I mean, he was there on the airship the first time you saved Princess.
They're talking... You hear mentions of the Dark Knight easily as early as after the Mithril mission.
Yeah, which is pretty much at the start of the game.
Pretty early on, yeah. So...
Anyway, you enter the castle of...
Yeah, so you meet face to face, and then he's the Emperor for a second.
And then it gets like a demon thing happens. What the fuck happens? He turn into a demon, or does
the Emperor, the one you killed...
Oh, it reappears.
He rises from hell, and it's just like, I'm the true Emperor, motherfucker.
It's like,
and Leon's just like, that's not fair. It was my turn to rule, Dad. And it just like doesn't...
Yeah, so...
Richard goes full Anne hero, and it's just like, I'll hold him off while you all escape, including Leon. So it gets away. So Richard dies. So he's another fucking third casualty.
Of your incompetence.
Exactly.
By this point, we're meant to be over-leveled. Well, not over-leveled, but by this point, we're meant to be good. But
you're basically like on the tail end of it. So Leon like begrudgingly rejoins you, and he's like the fourth party member. Until you
all escape with the dragon as the castle.
And the castle looks sort of like
it kind of gets changed into like a hell
it
thing.
warps into what's called Pandemonium, and it's like the giant evil fortress that belongs to the Empire.
Yeah.
And now you find out through... We forgot to mention, so the pirate lady, Layla, she leaves your team at one point, and it's because she becomes like the right-hand lady of the princess, which is cool. And that's how you got space for Richard. And you speak to her after you get back to the kid, because straight away after that shit, you go back to the princess and tell her what's happened. You're basically like, all right, let's prep, because we're going to go on the final mission. And you speak to Layla, and she's just like... I don't know how she gets this information, but she basically goes, oh, the reason that the Emperor came back is because he made a deal with the devil for power. Still, what does the devil like get out of that other than the soul?
Well, maybe he just wants us... I mean, it is the devil. He does soul stuff. But how does she know that? How literally...
There's a conspiracy for you.
How literally does she... Anyway, you agree with Leon to go and kill the Emperor again, which you do.
Yeah.
You travel to...
Pandemonium.
No, you go via like underground passages of the underworld, and you find the portal to Pandemonium.
I thought it was going to be another portal thing. That's the one thing we messed up in the last Final Fantasy one. We forgot, like, completely slipped our minds how they got to the Temple of Chaos.
They defeat the Emperor, and again
they kill like proper.
They fully kill him this time.
Yeah, it's like he has like a giant form. Like they always do this. It does like a chaos where he has a giant ultimate form that looks like a giant sprite. Now, what I like about this one is that unlike the first Final Fantasy game, this one actually has different final boss music.
Yeah.
So you have the same battle music for the bosses and for the regular enemies in the game, but when you get to the final boss, the Emperor, he's got a different music, if you've ever heard it.
You throw the Emperor down a shaft while he's shooting lightning at you, and he explodes, and he takes a Death Star with him. And afterwards, you're there.
You know what? When we actually get to the proper Star Wars episodes, it's just gonna not seem as fun.
Or when I get to the proper Star Wars episodes, I'm just gonna do this plot.
Oh God!
So,
I am the Senate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you kill it. You proper kill him.
So you proper kill him, and then Leon is like, "I'm going to leave because I've caused trouble," and they just let him go without arresting him.
Yeah, they get back to the castle. He's just like, "I'm taking off. Like, I'm a broken man. I need to go atone for my sins." Well, he doesn't say that, but like, it's implied.
Yeah, it's implied that's what he's doing.
No. I'm sorry, Leon. You're a traitor to you're a genocidal traitor.
And Vieren's like, you can come back if you want. The doors are open to you.
You take him out into the square and draw and quarter the little cunt. Like,
did you ever watch Naruto as a kid?
Yeah, well, as like 15-year-old is when I first started watching.
All right, so there's a cartoon in it called Sasuke. He's a prick. Like, massive bellend.
Yeah, I know where you're going with it.
Same situation where they're like...
He completely goes off the deep end.
Tries to kill everyone.
And then
at the end, they're like, oh, if you want to come back...
And then, at the very end, I don't know if you caught this, 100% like undisputable stolen from Star Wars. All your dead friends A bunch of like ghosts show up, like Force ghosts, just like at the end of Return of the Jedi. There's like Joseph and Minwoo and
Sid and
some other people, and it's
Dick Grayson.
And then it ends. So, what did you think overall? Like, really?
I mean, I really like Star Wars. I think it's
What did you think of Final Fantasy 2?
It's not a good game, let's be honest. I didn't like the leveling system in it. I didn't like the fact that I had to willingly kill myself again and again and again to increase my HP. Didn't make sense. I have stabbed myself numerous times in life, and I'm not any better for it.
I mean, they could have really taken it a step further and just called Sid's airship the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and then they could have just called it Star Wars, featuring beavers and buttheads and fucking... This is literally as much as you can incorporate from anything else into this one Final Fantasy game.
I think the only thing I can think of is that Hironobu Sakaguchi, he was sitting there and he was just like, right, so I finished Final Fantasy, and they come in and go, we want a second one. And he goes, it's called Final Fantasy. And he's just like, well,
matter.
I've just got back from the cinema watching Star Wars. Fuck it. I'll just do that shit and see if anyone notices.
Final Fantasy, a Star Wars story.